Hello, Guh. Good morning. Good morning, Julia. Yeah, Leo, I had some extra time this morning. I thought I was going to be busy this morning, but I'm not. So here I am. Although I don't feel great, I'm kind of tired today. So we'll see. Maybe I won't be here for too long because I don't have too much energy today. And hello, Julia and Nermal. Some mornings I wake up and I feel refreshed and I feel like I know what I want to do. And some mornings I get up and I'm just foggy all morning in my head and I just don't feel awake yet and I'm not that clear yet. I'm a little groggy. Remember we talked about that word before? To feel groggy. So I'm a little groggy, but here I am nonetheless. Discombobulated. Yeah, that's a great word, isn't it? I love that word. To be discombobulated just means to feel, well, I think I remember something. Wait, let me look. Discombobulate comes from. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's right. I do remember. So there were a bunch of words that were like this. Discombobulate. Then there was another one. The earlier version of it was discombobulate. And then before that was confusticate and, or no, not before that, but around the same time, they had confusticate, absquatulate, spifflecate, toploftical, under, let's see, undercome stumble, scrumplicate. So these are all made up words that were made up around the middle 1800s, early to middle 1800s, and they're words that are made up to sound like Latin, but they're not Latin. So they're made to sound like they're complicated words, but they're actually just made up words. So discombobulate means to upset or embarrass or to make someone feel out of sorts, like to make somebody feel like they're not working well, is to discombobulate them, right? To kind of make them feel like they're off their game. That's another way to put it. But then there's confusticate, which means to confuse, absquatulate, which means to run away with, spifflecate, which means to beat or to confound, toploftical, which means pompous or bombastic, undercome stumble, which means understand, and scrumplicate. Oh no, scrumplicate, which means eat. So if you want to really confuse a native speaker, learn those words because no one will know those words. No one will know. Discombobulate is the only one that people know. The rest of these words nobody knows. Confusticate and absquatulate and spifflicate and toploftical and scrumplicate. So next time you say you need to go eat lunch, you can say, pardon me, but it's the time of scrumplication. All right. Hello, Belen. Hello, Becca. Hello, Nazanin. If you want to see those words more clearly, you can go here. Take a screenshot of this. Here's discombobulate, which means to upset or embarrass, which the earlier version of the word was discombobricate. Discombobricate. And again, they're mock words. They're not real. They're fake words that were designed to sound Latin. And then there's confusticate, which means to confuse, and absquatulate, which means to run away with, and spifflicate, which means to confound or beat, toploftical, which means pompous or bombastic, and undercumstumble, which means understand. That's a weird one. And scrumplicate, which means to eat. I like that one. To scrumplicate. Let us scrumplicate. As if we needed to make things more complicated. I know, right? Isn't that funny? English was already complicated, and now we have people making up fake words. Yeah. Hello, Dill. Why don't I come to Kurdistan to become a teacher? Well, I mean, there are a lot of reasons why I don't go anywhere right now, but I would consider it maybe in the future. But I'm getting old. I'm getting old. I think I need to find a teaching position that's really more for just adults mostly, because I'm getting too old for kids. I can only deal with the kids who are really like the good kids. And you can't be a teacher if you just only work with the great kids. But I've spent decades working with everybody, and now I feel like I want to work with just the best, and I know that's really, really spoiled. Yeah. So anyway, which team do I support? I don't really support any team. I did watch a little bit of the World Cup yesterday with America and Australia. My nephew was watching the game, so I watched with my nephew for a little while. And, it was kind of exciting. America was winning. It seemed like the Australian team really, really enjoyed playing hurt. I mean, I remember that when we were playing soccer when we were kids, where it's like you'd get hit just a little bit or you'd trip just a little bit. And then you'd be like, oh, I'm so hurt. Oh, my leg. Oh, I can't get up. Oh, it hurts. And you're just trying to buy time, for your team to relax and rest and catch their breath, right? I saw that a bunch of times. There was big, grown, strong men grabbing their legs like, oh, oh, dude, it's a leg, man. It's a shin. I know it hurts and all, but come on, don't act like it's pregnancy, giving birth, there are people who have real injuries in other sports that don't show nearly the amount of crying and whining that some guys do when they're on the ground in soccer. Oh, mommy, mommy, please help me. Yeah. They did look like they like to play fake injuries a lot to buy time. And that's lame. Lame. Hello, Islam. Long time no see. It's been a while. Dill, I don't know anything about sports, period, anymore. And I don't know anything about soccer. So I don't know anything about the Iraqi team or the Australian team or the American team. I don't know anything about any of them. Yeah, no, I don't know and I don't care to know. I mean, there one of my favorite comedians. There's this guy who's been his name is Jeffrey, and he does this great routine where when he's doing his comedy routine, he'll ask the audience questions, right? And so he'll choose somebody from the audience and he'll choose this guy, right? And he'll say, who was the coach of this team from 1994 until 2021? Whatever. And then he'll say, where did this guy play football in college? And then he'll say, and who was the number one draft pick in football in 2023? Whatever. And this guy will know the answers to every one of those sports questions, right? And then he'll ask the same guy, do you know what happens to women during menopause? And the guy doesn't know anything. Or there's a woman and he asks the women, he asks this woman, do you know about Taylor Swift? And she knows everything about Taylor Swift, about how Taylor Swift met her husband and about, how many years they've been together and about this and that, everything about Taylor Swift. And then he asks her, do you know how or why America started the Korean War? And why did we go to war with Korea? And they don't know, right? And so that is kind of my point is I don't want to fill my head with information about sports because that doesn't have any value in history. Any game that's won or any game that's lost doesn't really have any real value to anything that's of value to me, right? So if it doesn't really affect the world, it's not really that important, and I don't have time for it now. I don't have time for it now. When I was a boy, I played sports. When I was a boy, I watched sports. I'm not a boy anymore, and sports are games. They're games, aren't they? They are games, right? So, I don't have that much time to care about games. I don't know why that's weird. It shouldn't be weird to say that. More people should say, you know what? I don't think I really have time for games anymore. Not really. Life is short and you should enjoy life. But treat your mind like property. And you can invest and buy certain property, right? And there's some property that's very valuable to invest in, and there's some property that's not so valuable. And you only have so much space. There's only so much room to buy, right? You can't buy every property. You can only fit so many properties. So invest in your properties wisely. And I just don't invest in sports anymore. I've gotten 10 times younger and a nice haircut. Oh, well, thank you, Dill. I appreciate that. 4,680 days. Are you talking about me? Yes, I've been here a long time. Hello, Sue. Good to see you again. No, that's okay. We just got started just about 20 minutes ago, 18 minutes ago. And hello, Becca. Okay, so if you have questions, then you should just start asking me your questions. And I will talk to a few people today on stage as well. Yes, this is iced coffee today. I'm drinking a little more today because I'm tired. Anything new in my life? Yeah, but my life is boring. You know, don't. There's nothing. My life is one of self-development. At this point, that's my main purpose in life, is just to work on me and try to become a better me and try to understand the problems with me and try to untangle more of those problems. That's what I focus on. So it's not very exciting. It's very valuable, it's very worthwhile, but it's not very exciting to anyone else. Americans call their mother-in-law and boss by their first names. In China, we only do that if we dislike them. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. I don't think that's completely true, Susu. Like, I think that I would say that that's true in many, many industries, but not all industries. Because, for example, when you teach English, almost everybody, when you're teaching English, they call their boss by their first name. Now, that might be only the foreigners. Well, that's not true. No, that's not true. Everybody, like my boss's name was Glendy, and everybody referred to her as Glendy. Even the Chinese and everybody did. It was all Glendy. You know, nobody referred to her as the boss or. No, that's not true either. There were a few. Most people that I heard referred to her as Glendy by her first name. You know what I think it was? I think it's very simple. Wow. It's just if they knew English. If they knew English, they called her Glendy. If they didn't know English, then they used the Chinese honorific title for boss. Let's see. I once read an article about Captain James Cook sailing around Antarctica and finding nothing but walls of ice everywhere. Based on his journey, how do we explain what he actually saw, and why do some people mistake it for the edge of the world? Um, I don't know if I can answer this question. I'll try. My guess would be simply that he was seeing a great deal of glacier wall, right? So glaciers often have a sheer cliff that goes right into the water, and that cliff will break off regularly. The ice breaks off into the ocean. And so that looks like a very tall wall for a lot of people. And Cook was, what year was that? That was 1772. So, that was all ice. Back then, that was all ice, and he had a very old boat. I mean, it was 1773, so that kind of boat was an HMS boat. They were called, and they were wooden. They were nice boats for the time, but they're still very, very, very basic compared to a modern ship today. So, I would guess it was just a misinterpretation of what he saw. That's probably what I would guess, which happens a lot throughout history. There are times when people find something or discover something or see something for the first time, but because they don't understand what they see, they misinterpret it as something else. I mean, look, why did settlers in America call the natives Indians? Why did they call them Indians? Because they thought they were in India. They misinterpreted where they were. They landed in a place that they thought was India, so they called them Indians. Then they found out that they were wrong. Okay, how can I say, huh? WOLD in a simple way. I don't know what that means, RB. Are you trying to say the word world? The world? WORLD? You have to practice. There's only one way. You just practice, practice, practice. The meaning of life is to give life meaning. Yeah, that's not my quote. That's a quote someone else made many years ago. But it's a good one that I really always liked, because even from when I was a boy, people were looking for the meaning of life. People were talking about what is the meaning of life, like you're supposed to search for it. And then I heard this quote, and it made me realize that's the wrong thing. You're not supposed to search for the meaning of life. You're supposed to try to give life meaning, to make life have meaning, I think that you have to try to understand life by learning. But you can give it meaning and purpose. You can make yourself feel like life has meaning and life has purpose if you give life meaning and you give life purpose. Dill says, same in Kurdish, if we call our mother-in-law by their first names, we will become enemies. In America, I don't think that's a thing. America has a tradition of, mother-in-laws are mother-in-laws all around the world, right? So every country in the world, there's a little bit of tension about mother-in-laws, right? That's always there. So yes, we have that in America too, where everybody talks about their mother-in-law in a little bit like a difficult way, like she's a difficult person, right? Now, is that always true? No. But it's just kind of a cultural anecdote, maybe. How do you pronounce the word dark? So and soul. So Leo, let's start with so and soul. That one I think I can help you with pretty easily. So, O, ends with an open vowel with the O sound, right? So just make that one very big and end with that open O. So, okay? But the word soul, you have to put the l at the end of it. But that's not very hard for Chinese people because Chinese does have this sound. Okay, there are two sounds in Chinese that are almost the same as this sound. One is just the l sound at the end of a Chinese word, like to say something in the past tense, right? So when you say chula, right, that you go with the la at the end of it makes it past tense, right? Chula, right? Ch with the past tense la on it means you've eaten, right? So la. So now what I want you to do, Leo, is I want you to try to kind of do it like a math problem. Treat it like you have two parts, right? So la, soul, 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 right? And then that la. In the beginning, I want you to throw it out of your mouth. Throw it out strongly. But the more you put them together, the more that la becomes a little bit softer. So it's not so, you don't throw it out anymore. Now it's just soul, soul, soul. Just let that last part soften. Don't throw it out there. Okay? But you also have another sound in Chinese, the sound of the word for spicy. La. That's la. That's the same sound in English. So, the word so and soul, you can practice just if you remember the L sound in Chinese is the same in English. The word dark, you need to practice the R sound, the American R sound, Leo. And the way to do that is to practice the word car. And when you do it, any sound that you're having trouble with in English, find a word that has that sound, that's like one of the main sounds in that word. Like the word car, the R sound is the most important sound in that word, right? It's the longest one you hear. And then I want you to stretch that sound even longer, to practice it more, okay? If you're having difficulty, if you're having trouble with a sound, then you have to practice that sound in a longer position, longer so that your mouth can feel what it's supposed to feel like. If you do it very quickly, your mouth doesn't see it and it can't learn it. It's too fast. It doesn't see what it's supposed to be doing. But if you stretch that sound out and make it longer, that gives your brain and your mouth more time to learn the right way and the proper sound and mouth position. So practice the word car and really pull that R sound as long as you can. Okay? Stretch it like a noodle. All right? Hello, Ahmed. What do I expect you to call me? I prefer Teacher Mark because Teacher Mark is not just a name, but it's a title. And that is not just for you. So sometimes people have a title because they want everyone else to give them respect that the title has. But for me, one of the big reasons why I use the title Teacher Mark is not because I want respect from you. It's because when I call myself Teacher Mark, I have to be respectful of being a teacher. I have to think about the fact that I'm a teacher here, that I have to be responsible, and that I have to present myself as a teacher should. So the name Teacher Mark is for me, to remind me to play the role the right way. If you just call me Mark, that's okay too. I don't care what you call me. You can call me Mark, you can call me Teacher Mark, some people call me Mr. Mark, whatever. I don't really care. The name Teacher Mark is mostly for me, because when I call myself that, it reminds me that that's what I should be doing. I'm glad to see you're back, Dill. Like the Perito Moreno Glacier in Argentina, in Patagonia. Patagonia, that's a place I've always wanted to go and see. I've seen some documentaries of Patagonia. Man, that looks like such a crazy cool wilderness. Like nature, I love nature, but there are some places in the world where nature looks so much more just unique, just different somehow, right? And Patagonia is a beautiful looking place that I would love to see sometime. Hello, Cedric. Is it true that America has no culture? No, that's not true. Of course it's not true. Every place has culture. You cannot have people without culture developing. But American culture is a very unique culture because American culture, a very big part of American culture, is a mix of all these cultures put together. So in the United States, we have people living here from every country in the world. I don't think there's any other country that probably can say that for sure. I mean, there are many countries that have a large foreign population, but I'm gonna guess that maybe America might be the only one that actually has some people living here from every single country in the world. Okay, and that creates an interesting mix. So, for example, Dill, one of the most interesting cultural areas in the United States is in New Orleans. New Orleans is a city in Louisiana, which is in the south of the United States. And New Orleans has a very interesting history. It used to be French, right? Orleans was a city in France, and they came here and made New Orleans. And then it was also Mexican for a while. The Mexicans controlled it for a while. So the Spanish controlled it, the Mexicans controlled it, the Americans controlled it. So if you go there, the buildings look crazy and weird and different. The food is crazy and weird and different. The music is crazy and weird and different. That's where jazz music was born. Jazz music is American. It was created in America by American culture. It is American culture. Now, jazz music is global. It's not just American, but it was born in America. That's one of the most important parts of American culture is jazz music. But again, the food in this city is very unique, and the language in this city is very unique. the accent, because it's a very strange mix of all these cultures put together. That's just one example. That's just one example of unique American culture, but there are hundreds, okay? Hundreds, if not thousands. Okay, let's see. It's wrong to say American to people who were born in the USA. So, Julia, yes, you're right, okay? But here's what you need to understand. There are two ways to say the word American, okay? American can mean people from the Americas, which would include you, but that's more of a geographic term. The cultural term American, everyone refers to that as being a person from the USA. That's not me. We didn't do that. That's the entire world. The entire world says that. So it's a silly argument to have. It's what we call a semantic or pedantic argument. It's one where, yes, you're right that if you're from Mexico, that's American. If you're from South America, that's America, right? So that's American also. But the word American has taken on a cultural context to refer to people from the United States. That's just a language affectation. Okay, let's see. Please be patient. I'm trying to catch up with the comments here. Hello, Maria, over there on my YouTube channel. If I had to learn a new language from scratch today for work purposes, how would I do it? Kessia, I would use all the same techniques that I teach here for English. So, let's say if I wanted to learn French, okay, then first thing I would do is I would look at, okay, reading, writing, listening, speaking, thinking, grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. Those are the 8 parts of language. And once I see these 8 parts of language, then I can start saying, okay, so if I want to learn French, let's look at let's look at grammar and pronunciation and vocabulary first. Because you need some vocabulary to say anything, you need some pronunciation to say anything, and you need some grammar to say almost anything. So, let's learn just a little bit of basic grammar in French. Let's learn just a little bit of basic vocabulary in French. And let's start learning a little bit of basic pronunciation and mouth positions in French. That's where I would start. And then I would begin a program of reading and writing and listening and speaking and thinking using those 3 other passive parts of language: grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. That's the basic way I would begin a language. And then you continue to break it down. And Kessia, I want you to imagine if you had to teach this to someone else, what would you do? This is a wonderful exercise that everyone should try. If you're trying to learn something, imagine what it would be to teach it. Imagine how you would teach that thing to someone. And that's how you'll find the best way to learn it. Okay? I am a very serious teacher. Well, yeah. I like to make jokes, but I take the job of being a teacher very seriously. I do. Am I seeing you? Yes, I am, Mozamel. Would I tell you a little bit about Mono No Aware? What? I don't know what that is. Mandagar. I'm not sure what you're talking about. What is that? Don't know. You have never experienced the era of the Emperor. What kind of experience would that be? Well, we have a little bit. I mean, as a country, I have not. In my lifetime, we've never had a monarchy or a king. But the entire history of my country is based on the idea of breaking away from kings, from emperors. Okay? So American history and American perspective is one that's created based on a viewpoint that we don't want a monarchy. That we had that. We lived under the control of British monarchy, but we didn't like it because they didn't listen to us, they didn't care about us, and they kind of made us a second-class citizens. So that's why America broke away from England, was because England was the ruler. They were the masters of all of us. But when they made the rules and the laws, they didn't ask us how we feel. They didn't include us in the conversation at all. So they were telling America what to do, but they weren't letting Americans say anything about it. And eventually, we didn't like that, and we said, enough. We want to say what we want to do for ourselves. So what I would say is we have never experienced a monarch ourselves because we broke away from them during the Revolution. But we have a good idea of why we broke away from them. Okay? Utah Jazz is a basketball team. That's right. And it's a weird name. That's the dumbest name for a basketball team. And especially because if you're going to call any basketball team the Jazz, it should be from New Orleans, where jazz was made. Utah is like the least jazzy city in the world. If you want to find jazz, Utah State, not city. If you want to find jazz, the last place in the world that I would look is in Utah. That's what's so funny about the name, the Utah Jazz. I don't know who came up with that name, but it was so stupid. Why would you choose that name for Utah? There are a bunch of other names you could have chosen that would have made more sense, but the Utah Jazz. So weird. Okay, for someone who needs English for work, what would you do every day to improve your speaking? Well, it depends on what kind of work you do, but let's say customer service, because many people do that. I would focus every day on a basic program of English to work on my English. I would also focus on a practice list of phrases and sentences that are common in my industry, right? So for customer service, you have to talk on the phone a lot. So you need a lot of phone dialogue knowledge, right? You need to understand how do I speak to people on the phone properly, right? What's the proper thing to say here, and what's the proper thing to say here? So you can study that. You can study that. If you work in customer service, almost every customer service job, they give you a booklet. And in the booklet, it tells you, if they ask you this, then you say this. If they say this, then you say this, right? So you can study the answers that you're supposed to give, right? That's what I would work on, is one, a basic program of English to work on my English my grammar problems, my pronunciation problems, things like that. But then I would also have a booklet that has all of the common language or phrases that are used in my industry that I can review and practice. That's a start. That's where I would start. What's the difference in accent between American and British? There are many, many. Mansoor, America has about 30 different accents, and the UK has, I think, about 50 or 60 accents, which is really weird because, like, America is much bigger than the UK, but the UK actually has more accents than we do. But there are many different accents, so I can't tell you what's the difference between all of them. But if you're talking about my accent, which is this is the Mid-Ohio or Central Ohio accent, and it's the closest one to the IPA pronunciation, the standard pronunciation, right? If you're comparing this one to what's called RP is received pronunciation, so that's what we call the King's English. If you're comparing my voice to the King's English, there are many, 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 many differences. But what I would tell you is, Mansoor, there are a lot of websites that will show you the differences between American English and British English. Type that question into the internet and ask the internet, and there will be many, many websites that come up, and they'll tell you the vocabulary, the pronunciation, even some of the grammar is different. Okay? How do you memorize vocabulary? You don't. You don't memorize vocabulary. If you want to know a friend better, if you want to know a person better, then do you look at them and say their name 1,000 times? Right? So if, let's see, who do I have here? There's Sam. There's Sam, okay? So if I want to know Sam better, if I want to remember Sam, what should I do to remember Sam? Should I talk to Sam and get to know Sam and spend time with Sam? Or should I just stare at Sam and just look at him and just say his name 1,000 times? Sam, 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 Sam. Oh, geez, I hope I remember Sam, Sam, Sam. Which one is better? Should I just say the name Sam 1,000 times, or should I talk to Sam? And hello, Sam. So here's my point. Memorizing is the worst way to learn because memorizing is boring. Memorizing is very boring, and your brain doesn't like boring, and that's why you forget. Because it's so boring. But if I want to know a person, let's put it this way. If I'm walking down the street in your city, I'm in your city and I'm walking down the street, and I see you and you see me, but we don't say hi, we don't say anything, we just walk by each other. How long will you remember me for? Maybe one day, probably just an hour, maybe, right? If we don't say anything, you just walk by me. If I walk by you and I wave and you wave, you'll remember me for an hour or two. If I walk by you and I say, oh, hi, Sam, and you say, oh, hi, Mark, you'll remember me for the next few days. If I stop and I say, hi, my name is Mark, nice to meet you, where are you from? You'll remember me for a month. If we go to lunch and talk at lunch, how long will I remember you for? If I go have lunch with you and we talk the whole time, and I talk about you and you talk about me, we talk about each other, how long will you remember me for? Probably forever. Or at least for a long time, right? So learning words is the same way. If you just focus on memorizing the word, that's boring, 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 and you will forget. But there are so many other ways to look at a word and learn about that word. Okay, so for example, let's take the word engine. The word engine. What is an engine, everybody? What is an engine? Yeah, that's the word engine. An engine is something that usually you find in your car, right? A car has an engine, a plane has an engine, a boat has an engine, right? So, the word engine, is the word engine a noun, or is it an adjective, or is it a verb? It's a noun. Okay, so now we know one thing about this word. It's a noun, right? And the word engine, where does the word engine come from, right? When you meet a person, you say, hey, where are you from, right? So what about the word engine? Is the word engine from someplace? Where does the word engine come from? Not Germany, no. The word engine, it comes from French. And then before that, it comes from Latin. But let's start with French. In French, the word engine is pronounced engine. Engine. And in French, the word engine, it means skill or ability or a trick. Something clever. It's clever. It's engine. Okay? So, where does that word come from? Well, that word comes from the Latin word ingenium. Ingenium. Okay? Now, why do we have that word? Okay, so I want you to imagine that it is the year 1200. It's the year 1200, and you are going to a battle. You're going to a battle between two armies. Two armies are meeting on the battlefield, right? And they're about to fight. But one of the armies, they have something new that they built. They made some kind of a new machine to help them fight. And that is called a war engine. So the word engine, the first time they used the word engine, they were talking about something that they built to help them fight. It was clever. So imagine you're on the battlefield and you have your army and you're looking over at their army and you say, wait, look, they have something new. What is that? What is that big thing that they have that throws rocks? They have a thing that throws rocks at us. We don't have that. That is clever. That's very clever. Ingenium. It's ingenious. It's clever. So the word engine, today, it means something in your car or your boat or your plane that helps it move. But the word engine comes from the word engine, which means clever, because the first engine was a war engine, like a trebuchet or like a catapult or like a battering ram. The first war engine, I'll tell you what it was, the first war engine was called a battering ram. Do you know what a battering ram is? Anyone? A battering ram? A ram. A ram is an animal, right? You guys know the animal, the ram? Have you guys ever seen the ram? Yeah, let me show you a ram. This is a ram. Right? And what do they like to do? What do rams do? What do they like to do all day? When they see each other, what do they do? Right? Yeah, they hit each other, right? That's called ramming. To ram is to pound against something. So the first thing that they used that was a war engine was a battering ram. This. It's basically a big tree. It was a big tree that they had. Let me see. Hold on. Let me give a better picture. Can you see this one? Let me make it bigger. Get rid of this. Look. What is that? This is a battering ram. It's a big tree. And at the end of it, they have what? It looks like a ram. Okay? And that's what they use to break down the door to get in. Okay? So, can you imagine if you were fighting and the first time you see something like that, you're like, whoa, wait a minute. That's new. That's not fair. What are they doing? They have some new thing that's helping them win. That's a war engine, and the word engine means something clever. It's a clever way to win. And now the word engine means it's a clever way to help your car move. It's clever. It helps your car move. Okay? Now, the word engine, are you going to forget that word now? I told you where it comes from. I told you what kind of word it is. And I told you the story of where it comes from, like the history of it. And because I told you those things, those are interesting. So that's easy to remember. So that's your choice. Your choice is memorizing, and memorizing doesn't work well because it's so boring. So you forget, and then you have to memorize it again, and you forget, and you memorize it again, and you forget, right? But if you learn this way, by learning like it's a person, try to get to know this word just like you get to know a person, right? Where are you from? What do you do? What's your job? You know, what do you like to do for fun? Where do you often go? These are things you can ask words too, right? Where do you see this word most often? Where is it used, usually? What function does it have? Is it a verb? Is it a noun? Is it an adjective? What language did it come from originally? Okay? So, take care, Cecilia. So, that's the method that I use is that I teach people that it's a lot easier to remember a word if you just treat the words like people, and instead of trying to memorize them, get to know them. Find out interesting information about each word, and it's easy to remember. Okay? Okay, let's see. So the word engine comes from the trebuchet. Well, not exactly from the trebuchet. Trebuchet is also a French word, by the way. But the word engine comes from Latin, ingenium, and that was talking about any of the first machines or things that they used to help you fight in a battle. So the first one was the battering ram because it's the most basic and simple. It's just a big piece of wood that you slam against the door until the door breaks down. That doesn't take a lot of work to make, and it's not that hard. So I'm sure that the first war engine was a battering ram. But then they made the catapult. And what is a catapult? Do you guys know what a catapult is? A catapult it's that thing that you see in the old movies that they put a rock, you put a big, big, big rock here, a big boulder, and it will throw the rock at the castle, and it hits the castle, right? That's called a catapult. And the word catapult, it means, it comes from a Greek word, katapeltis, which the word kata means against, and the word pult comes from the word, what is it? Paline, to throw. So the word catapult means to throw against, because that's what it does. It throws rocks against the wall. Okay? Yeah, there it is right there. And there are other words in English that have the letters kata in them. Like, for example, catalog. What is a catalog? What is a catalog? A catalog is like a book that tells you everything, right? It has a list of things, right? So I told you that the word kata means against, or it means down completely. Down completely. So catapult means throw against until it's down completely. You throw rocks against the wall until the wall comes down completely. So the word catalog is about writing down the information completely. Writing down all of your products completely. That's a catalog. Down completely. And how about the word... Wait a minute, let me find another good one for you. There are many, but category. What about category? What is a category? This one is actually interesting also. So a category is a group, a class, that's right. But the original word category was used by the Greeks. And when they used it, it had a different meaning. The word was more like to accuse someone, to say, you did it, or you are this. You're bad. You're bad. It's an accusation. So the word began as an accusation to tell somebody you're bad. But now it just means a classification. Okay, so that's how it started, was someone was classifying you. They were saying, you're a bad person. That's your category. And so when they said category, that word meant to down. So kata means down to, or against, and to claim against. So the word category originally means to say he is bad. But now the word category just means a classification. But it's still related to the word catapult. And it's related to the word catalog. And what about the word... Let's see... Oh, here's a good one. Catastrophe. What's a catastrophe? Catastrophe. Yeah, it's a disaster, right. And so the word catastrophe comes from the Latin word catastrophe and the Greek word catastrophe, which means an overturning or a sudden end. So in this word, the word kata means down and streifen means turn. So it means everything turned badly, quickly. That's a catastrophe. Everything was made down quickly. So again, kata has catastrophe, category, catalog, all of those are right there. Those are all kata words. Catapult. Okay, so this is another reason why if you get to know one word, you can learn about the other words that are related by family. So learning this way is much more effective also. You're not just learning one word. You're learning all the words that are related. Much faster. Okay? I can do this all day long. You can give me just about any word in English, and I can show you other words that are related to that word by family. Okay? By root. Disaster. That's another good one. What's a disaster? What's a disaster? And hello, Famelza. I would like to improve my speaking skills in English, so I use shadowing and follow the native speaker. What other things do you advise? Famelza, watch me here, and you'll hear a lot of tips about what to do for English learning, right? Shadowing is good if you shadow the right person, okay? But if you just watch, I think if you watch about 5 or 6 of my streams, you'll hear at least 10 or 20 new tips that you've never heard before that will help you with English. Okay? So, yes, a catastrophe, that's right. A catastrophe is something bad like an earthquake, like a tsunami, like a volcano exploding. That's a catastrophe. I'm sorry, that's a disaster. Disaster. So what does the word disaster mean? Well, let's see. What does dis mean? Dis. When you see a word that has dis on it, D-I-S, what does that mean? It means no or what else? Not or something negative, right? Something negative or bad, right? Yeah, right. So then, what about the second part of that word? So we have dis, and what about the second part? Aster. What does that mean? Do you know any other words in English that have this sound? Aster? Asteroid. Yeah. Any others? Astronaut. Astronomy. Astrology. Astronomer. So what does astro mean? What does astro mean? It means star. So disaster means bad star. And why does it mean bad star? Anyone know? Two thousand years ago, if there was a volcanic explosion, or there was an earthquake, or there was a tornado, what did the people think? Why did they think that happened? Why did the tornado happen 2,000 years ago? What did people think? It's like bad luck, okay? And where does the bad luck come from? Yeah, when they used to look to the gods, right? And where are the gods? In the stars. So disaster means bad star, because it's like the gods are angry. So they sent a volcanic explosion, they sent a flood, they sent an earthquake. Bad star. That's what that means. Okay? So that's an interesting way to learn. And like I said, there are many words in English that have AST or ASTR, something like that. Like I said, astronaut. Astronaut is like a spaceman, right? And astronomer is a person who studies space. Okay, astronomy is the study of space, right? Asteroid is a rock in space, right? Like a small star. Okay, so again, it's a much easier way to learn the words if you just get to know them. And when you get to know one, you can get to know many. All right? All right. Did I miss any other questions? Let's see. Please be patient. Let me go back and see. Sarah, what's your question for me? Do I have any idea about what white collar job and blue collar job mean? Yes, Chirag. When you work in a factory, or if you work as a mechanic in a garage, what do you wear? What is the color of your uniform? If you work in a garage, what do they often wear in the garage? What color is the clothing? Look. Blue, 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 blue. So a blue collar job is a job that works with your hands. A blue collar job is a factory job. A blue collar job is a job in a garage, or a mechanic, a plumber, an electrician. That's a blue collar job. Okay, a blue collar job is a job usually that's a physical job, a working job, a labor job, some kind of labor job. Maybe special labor, like a plumber is a special kind of labor. An electrician is a special kind of labor, right? But that's blue collar work. But if you work in an office, this is your collar, everybody, right here. This is your collar. So today I have a gray collar. But if I worked in an office, then my collar would be white. Yeah. So white collar job means you work in an office somewhere doing office like work. Blue collar job means you work in a factory or something that does with your hands, right? Like a plumber, an electrician, a mechanic, something like that. Okay, so blue collar is doing something more with your hands that's labor, and white collar is doing something more like computers, office work, finance, things like that. Okay, let me go back. Again, please be patient. I'm looking to see if I missed any other comments. Catapult and cannon, are they related? Waleed wants to know. No. Cannon comes from the word... so do you know... Waleed, do you know the word cane? What is a cane? What's a cane, Waleed? It's a walking stick, but before it was a walking stick. So like, yeah, an old man, maybe they use a cane. But there was another meaning before we had the walking stick. Cane was a word that meant like this. Look, I'll show you. No, that's not what I want. Cane. Oh, wait a minute. I know what This is what I should have said. Do you know what this is? What is this, everyone? Sugar cane. Not bamboo. Nope, not bamboo. It's called sugar cane. This is a plant that can give us sugar. It's one kind of sugar. We make sugar from this. Okay? It's called sugar cane. It looks like bamboo, but it's not bamboo. But if you notice, canes are like bamboo. And what's special about bamboo? Why is bamboo special? Bamboo canes are special because of this. Waleed, what does that look like right here? What's that look like right here, Waleed? This one. It's hollow. So it's a tube. So where does the word cannon come from? The word cannon comes from the word cane. Because the first cannons were actually very small, and they were made with hollow wood, like this. So the cannons that you think about are the big metal cannons. But look, let's see. Look at that. This is one of the first kinds of guns, right? Okay, and let's see. So when they saw this, look, what is that? That looks like bamboo. That looks like bamboo. That's a cannon. Bamboo cannon, right there. So that's where the word cannon comes from. It's related to the word cane, like sugar cane or bamboo cane. because it means it's a hollow tube. Because that's what a cannon is. A cannon is a hollow tube. So the word catapult is not related to the word cannon. The word cannon is related to the word cane. Like sugar cane. Okay? Let's see, what else? Cease to exist. The word cease. When do we use that word? The word cease is just a more formal word that means to stop something. We don't usually use that word. It's usually a legal word, or it's a word that's so formal that it tells people that you're very mad, you're very upset. So if I say, you guys need to stop, then maybe I'm a little bit mad. But if I say, you guys need to cease that right now, by using the word cease, it's a much more formal word, and sometimes when we use more formal words, it makes it more upset, more angry. Okay? All right, let's see, what else? All right. And speaking of the word cease, do you guys know this word? Whoops. Which is usually a capital C. Yeah, like Caesar salad. Right. But the word Caesar is funny because almost everyone in the world, they say the word Caesar like Julius Caesar. But that's the wrong pronunciation. It's not pronounced Caesar. The word is supposed to be pronounced Kaiser. And that should make a lot more sense because in German, they have the word for king, and that word is Kaiser. And in Russian, you have the word for king, and that word is Tsar. So the word Tsar and the word Caesar, it's Kaiser. It comes from the word Kaiser, which was just a mispronunciation. Mohammed, hello, Mohammed. Do you have a question, Mohammed? If you have a question, you can write it in the chat, Mohammed. Okay? If you are new, you cannot come on my stage until you read this. Okay? If you are new, I am not new. I have 90,000 followers here on Hello Talk. Okay? Everything you need to know about me is in this file right here. Okay, Mohammed, I understand. You are learning languages, you want to practice your English. But guess what, Mohammed? I am not here to practice English with anyone. I am a teacher. It's my job. I've been doing this most of my life. And now I am here teaching everyone. Everyone. Okay? So 90,000 people follow me. And right now there are about 90 people in the room watching me. Okay, so get the file and read this file, and then you'll know everything we are doing here. Okay, everything about me. My schedule is in that file. If you want to know my website, it's in that file. My blog and my YouTube channel, it's in that file. Okay, everything about me that you need to know is in that file. Okay? I'm not trying to be rude, Mohammed. It's just that I'm here all the time and I have a purpose when I come here. All right. My purpose is to answer questions. So, Mohammed, if you have questions about English, pretend like I'm AI. Pretend like I'm AI, like I'm ChatGPT. Just ask me your questions. Okay. And that's what I will do. I will help you here. I'm here to help everyone. All right? And I do talk to people on stage, but I only like to talk to people on stage after they know about me, after they've seen what I do and they know what we're doing here. So if you are new, if you are really new, I want you to read my file first. Then maybe I'll invite you on stage. Okay? Why should you ask me if you have AI? Because I'm better than AI. Because AI is not funny. It's weird why people don't want to check your profile to know how incredible and pretty much well-known you are. Carlos says. I know it's kind of funny, Carlos, but most people who come on Hello Talk, they don't care who they're talking to. They just want to talk to someone. And I understand. But I have a bigger purpose here. That's all. I have a bigger purpose here. Okay, if you want to improve your accent, the number one easiest way to improve your accent in any language is to work on tongue twisters. So I'm going to help you with that. This is a list of 53 tongue twisters that you can practice to work on your English pronunciation. Take a look. This is the page that I just gave you right here. 53 fun tongue twisters to use in your English classes. Okay, so look, I'm going to zoom in so you can read them. Short and simple tongue twisters. She sells seashells by the seashore. She sells seashells by the seashore. How can a clam cram in a clean cream can? How can a clam cram in a clean cream can? Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair. Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't fuzzy, was he? That's my favorite one. 12 twins twirled 12 twigs. A happy hippo hopped and hiccuped. I saw Susie sitting in a shoeshine shop. Okay, look, there are 53. I like New York, unique New York. I like unique New York. Fred fed Ted bread, and Ted fed Fred bread. Many mumbling mice are making midnight music in the moonlight. Mighty nice. Scissors sizzle, thistles sizzle. Red lorry, yellow lorry, red lorry, yellow lorry. Can you can a can as a canner can a can? The bottom of the butter bucket is buttered bucket bottom. Is the buttered bucket bottom. There you go, right? So these are great. These are great, fun things to practice. And why do these work? Why are these great? Because tongue twisters, you can only say a tongue twister if your pronunciation, if you exaggerate. If you exaggerate. So, if it's too simple, then say it faster. For example, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Okay, fine. Now say it 3 times fast. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. All right? So, tongue twisters. Absolutely, there is no better way to work on your pronunciation in any language. Every language has tongue twisters. That's the fastest way to learn the pronunciation of that language. Okay? No, it's not easy, but you can start with ones that are easier, and you can find the ones that are really hard. The ones that are really hard are the ones you really need to work on. Those are the ones that will improve your pronunciation a lot. Okay? Let me see, what's the next question? How can you learn the American accent? Learn tongue twisters. If you want to know about shadowing and shadowing techniques, then I want you to go to here. I wrote an article about shadowing, and it is here. So if you want to know about shadowing, then read my article about shadowing. And when you do tongue twisters, in the beginning, I want you to do them very slowly and exaggerate the pronunciation a lot. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Look how much my mouth is moving. She sells seashells down by the seashore. Make it really exaggerated and then start speeding it up, but keep the exaggerated motion. Okay? It's exactly like our national team performance. Well, that's too bad, Waleed. I'm sorry to hear that. My cheeks hurt. Yes, your cheeks will hurt. If you're doing it right, then your mouth will be tired. Yeah, because you're moving your mouth a lot more than you usually do. Carlos, I told everybody that I did watch a little bit of the Australia-America game yesterday with my nephew, and it was kind of fun. But I don't watch. Otherwise, I really just don't care. I'll tell you what I like, Carlos. What I like about the World Cup here is because the World Cup is here, there are many people from around the world who are traveling here to see the World Cup. And I think that there are many people from around the world that are getting to experience American culture in maybe for the first time, really, right? They're trying our foods. There's so many videos online of people from around the world trying American foods for the first time and going to American restaurants and doing American things. And that's kind of cool. It's kind of fun to see people from around the world coming here to appreciate some of what we have. I like that. And I also like to see Americans having more interaction with people from around the world, because many Americans don't travel outside of the country. Many Americans have never been outside of America, and they probably never will. So it's nice when people from around the world come here. Now Americans get to see people from other places and interact with them more. And that's good too. Yeah, cultural thing. The cultural thing I think is really good. That part of it I think is good. Yeah. So Brazil played in Philly yesterday. So that means that there are many Brazilians probably in Philadelphia right now. And so now they're trying Philadelphia food. And Philadelphia is famous for what we call the Philly cheesesteak sandwich. It's one of our most famous sandwiches in America. And it's a lot of steak that has been cut very, very thin and small and cooked on a grill. And then they put onions and cheese on it. I think that's it. Just onions and cheese. Sometimes they have mushrooms too, but I think it's just meat, onions, and cheese on a big bun. And that's a delicious, yummy sandwich that's famous in Philadelphia. And so I'm sure there are many Brazilians who are trying that for the first time, and that's cool, that's fun. How can we stay disciplined while learning English? So, staying focused and staying disciplined as a human is very hard. It's hard to stay focused on anything. But I have one method that I do like to use that I do think helps a bit. It's not a complete solution, but it does help. If you want to do something seriously, if you want to do something and be serious about it, then you need to try to make yourself feel like you are part of some big tradition, history. Okay? So if you're just studying English just to study English, then okay, fine. But it's not serious. It doesn't feel serious, so you won't be serious. But I play the drums. And drumming has happened for thousands of years. There have been drummers. So now I'm a drummer. I'm part of this tradition that's thousands of years old. So now I feel more serious about when I say the words, I'm a drummer. Now I feel like, ooh, I have to be more serious because those words mean I'm saying I'm part of those serious people. I'm part of a grand tradition. When you're part of a grand tradition, you take it more seriously. Okay? So it doesn't matter what you're trying to do. If you want to be more serious about it, then learn about the history of it. Learn who are the major important people in that thing. Learn about why people respect those people. Like, okay, so for example, if you're learning about boxing, right? Boxing, in boxing, Muhammad Ali was one of the most famous boxers of all time. So now you learn about Muhammad Ali. Ah, he's part of that tradition. Now I'm part of that tradition. So when you say, I'm a boxer, Muhammad Ali said he's a boxer too. So those words, when you say them, would you have the courage to say, I'm a boxer, standing next to Muhammad Ali? Would you have the courage to do that? If you do, then that means you feel like you're really part of this tradition and you are serious. If you don't, then you know that Muhammad Ali will laugh at you when you say you're a boxer because you're not serious. Okay? So, if you want to take something more seriously, try to imagine and learn about the history of it. Imagine that you're part of a grand tradition. This is not just you. This is not just you. You are part of a big club in history. That makes it more serious. Okay, that's my big technique that I use to take things seriously. Okay? Okay. Edris asks, how do we speak very well? Edris, that question is too big. That question is too big. No one can answer questions that are that big. Okay? A long time ago, my teacher, I asked my teacher, I said, how can I be a great drummer? And he said to me, Mark, that's a terrible question. And I said, why is that a bad question? And he said, if I have to write a book to answer your question, then it's not a good question. So, when you say, how can I speak well? I can't answer that question without writing a book. I need to write a book to answer that question. So that means that question is too big. It's not a good question. So think about what you really want to ask. Okay? Hello, Celine. Thank you very much. Welcome. Barzan, I'm not really allowed to talk about politics here on Hello Talk. But I will just tell you this, Barzan. Anyone with a brain thinks that what we are doing in the Middle East is incredibly stupid. If you have a functioning, working brain, then you think that what we're doing in the Middle East is really, really, really stupid. Like, honestly, probably it's the dumbest thing that any country has done in the last 100, maybe 200 years. That's my country. Okay. All right, let's see. How many of you are new? Who's new? Oh, that's interesting. Is it Mahdia or Mahdi? Is that another way to spell Mahdi, maybe? Okay, so if you are new, I am not new. I have been here on this app for almost 13 years. I am a teacher. I started teaching in 1994. I started teaching English in 2009. I have about 90,000 followers on Hello Talk. About 90,000 people follow me here to learn English. Okay? So, if you want to learn English and you are serious, this is a classroom. My room is a classroom. Okay? You can come here and you can ask me your questions. Now, sometimes people say, why don't you teach anything, Teacher Mark? You don't teach us any topics. And you're right, I don't. I don't usually teach any class here. Why? Do you know why I don't teach a subject? Do you know why I don't usually teach anything here? I answer questions, but I don't prepare any material. Do you know why? Yeah, that's pretty much why. Yeah. So I don't prepare any material and I don't teach anything specific here because when you're a teacher, that's your job. People pay you for that, right? So this is my job. This is how I eat. If I want to eat, then I have to teach. All right? So, first, if you want a real teacher should be paid. And I'm not. So, that doesn't mean I won't help you. It means I will help you. But this is a room for self-learners. This is a room for self-learners. So what that means is, if you are studying English and you are teaching yourself English, I will help you. So for example, This is my website. On my website, I want to show you something. This is my website right here. On my website, if you want to buy lessons from me and study with me privately, you can. Okay, you can buy lessons and book a package of lessons here on my website, all right? But if you just want to study English, if you just want to self-study, then go to my website and subscribe. It's free. You just have to subscribe, right? Then go up here to this one, resources. You see this up here, everybody? Resources. Okay? And you click on resources, and what does that say? Teacher Mark's Top English Resources. This is the page you need to self-study. So everything you need to study reading is right here under reading. Everything to study writing, listening, speaking, grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, and the IELTS or the TOEFL. Okay? So go to my website and you will see these. Let's click on grammar. Okay, we're going to click on grammar. And look, here is games2learnenglish.com. That's the first website. BBC English Grammar. Okay, Dave's ESL Cafe Grammar. LO English Grammar. Wyzant English Grammar. These are all free grammar pages for you. So here's what you should do. Go study by yourself using these pages. Use the websites that I have given you and study. And then when you have questions or problems, if you don't understand, come here and ask me. That's the way this works here. Okay? Self-study, and then I will help you. I will help you self-study. Okay? That's how it works here. I do have a YouTube channel. It's right here. My wife doesn't speak English, but she can understand many things you are saying. She's like, oh, he can teach for free? Really? Well, no. Kind of. If you study with me, if you buy lessons from me, then I really do teach you. Like, I create lessons for you, and I have lots of materials, and I make a course that's just for you, right? So if you actually pay me, then that's when I use all of my magic. All right? If you pay me, I break out all my magic for you. Okay? But if I'm not being paid, I still will help you, but you just have to do most of the work. You do the work, and then you ask me questions. That's it. Okay? What is the level of respect for culture of the Middle Eastern nations in the eyes of their academics while the nations these... Huh? Barzan, I'm not sure what you're saying. Barzan, let me explain something, at least for me. I cannot tell you how every American feels, but I can tell you how I feel, and I'll tell you this. I live on Earth. Earth is a planet. I like that planet. So, is the Middle East on Earth? If the Middle East is on Earth, then I like it. Is China on Earth? If China is on Earth, then I like it. I like the planet Earth. So, I don't really care where you're from. You're from Earth. You're from Earth. Okay? I respect people that deserve respect. I respect respectable people. How's that? So if you're a respectable person, then I respect you. If you're not a respectable person, then I don't respect you and I don't care where you come from. Okay? Oh, we got some other people here. Hello, over in my YouTube channel. Ven Nirajana, you're going to need to speak English, buddy. If you want to ask me questions, then make sure you're using English in my chat. Okay? And yes, that's why Teacher Mark made a friend in every corner. So my website, I started using this app 13 years ago. Almost 13 years ago, I started using this app. And I started using this app to teach myself Chinese, to practice Chinese. But then I started making friends in places all around the world, and I started talking to people all around the world. And that's when I realized that that's what I really want, is I want to have a goal where I know somebody in every single country in the world. So that if I go to any place, I want to choose any place in the world, and when I go there, somebody knows me. And that's why I made AFIEC. It means a friend in every corner. Because that's my goal. I want to have a friend in every corner of the world somewhere that, you know, if I just fly to Indonesia, there'll be somebody at the airport and says, Teacher Mark. If I fly to, Belarus, there'll be somebody that'll say, Teacher Mark. That's my goal. And I think it's a great goal that everybody should have. Everyone in the world should have this goal. How amazing would that be? Just think about how much the world would change. Think about how much the world would change if everyone knew at least one person from every country in the world. Think about what a huge difference that would be. That's never happened in the history of mankind. It's never happened. But it can. It can. You can go make a friend in every country in the world. And that is special. You know? Did I create the website myself? Both. I hired somebody to make my website, and then I kind of started working on it myself, and I've had a couple other people. But, Amelia, it's, it's not the most amazing website. I'm aware of that. But sometimes, Amelia, I'll be honest, sometimes it bothers me when you go to some websites and the website is amazing. It's absolutely technologically brilliant, and it looks like it's so beautiful, but it also feels cold, and it doesn't actually feel connected. Sometimes they polish it so much that it becomes too clean, and then it feels lifeless. So my page is not exactly the most amazing page, and it could be better, sure. But I'm a single person by myself doing all of this, so under my budget, I did the best I could. How was the app back in the day? It was very different. Back in the day, it was very, very simple. But in some ways, I think the app was better. Because in the first 5 or 8 years of the app, they really did focus on learning and education and language learning. cultural exchange and language learning. In the last 5 to 8 years, they don't seem very focused on education or cultural exchange in any educational way. It seems like they're just trying to be a social media app now. Do I teach beginners? Valeria, it depends on how beginner you are. For example, if you're a beginner and you speak Chinese, maybe I can teach you because I speak some Chinese. So, because I speak bad Chinese, maybe I can help a very, very beginner, right? But if you're from Brazil and you speak Portuguese and you're a beginner in English, it might be a little bit hard for me to teach you if you don't have at least a basic level. Just a basic level, right? Like you know the alphabet and you know the basic pronunciation and maybe you can speak a little bit, a few words. Okay? Waleed, I certainly hope I would love to go there and meet you, my friend. I would love to go to Mexico too, Alejandra. Mexico's not far from me, but I've never been there, and I would love to go. There's so much Mexican culture that I do really like, and I would love to see more of. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, Waleed, I have a special gift for you. I almost forgot about it. I have one song that's finished enough that I will give you just for you, Waleed. It's not yet published. It's not released to the public yet, but we have one song that is good enough that I think is finished. We're going to be releasing it soon. So because you're so excited, I'll send it to you later. I'll see if I can figure out how I can send it to you. I think I can send it to you later. Yeah. So I have one song I can give you that's finished. There are at least 4 others that are coming soon too. Okay, I don't like it now. The other day I went to others' voice rooms and you got racist language. Susu, if you go to anybody's voice room or live stream and you hear anything like that, report it immediately. Right? Don't just ignore it. Report it, guys. This is a community. A community is only good if the community cares. If the community does not care, then it's not a good community. So, if something happens on the app and you are not happy, if someone treated you poorly, report it. Especially if it's something racist, report it. Get them kicked off. Make their lives more difficult. If their lives are easy, then there will be more people like that on the app. But if you make their lives difficult, then they will either stop doing it or they'll go to another app. Okay, so make sure you report it. Many, many, many people, I see them and they say, oh, I blocked them. No. Blocking doesn't do anything. Blocking only blocks them from you. That's it. But the rest of the world now still has to deal with this person, right? So please don't just block somebody if they're bad on HelloTalk. Report them and block them, okay? It's a community. A community is only as good as the community, okay? If the community cares, then it's a good community. If it doesn't care, then it's not, okay? May you share interesting things about Dragon Boat Festival last Friday. Sure, I love Dragon Boat Festival. Hello, Betty. Yes, this app went full TikTok mode. I know, right? Yeah. They didn't used to allow selfies on the app at all, and now it's nothing but selfies. Like, if I go to HelloTalk right now, and I just go look at the moments section... There's a pretty girl. There's a pretty girl. There's a pretty girl. There's a nice looking guy in the gym working out. There's a pretty girl. There's a pretty girl. It's like, welcome to Shallowland. Yeah, it's kind of sad. It really is sad. I'm sorry, but I don't appreciate that. I think that in one lifetime, no human should have more than 1,000 selfies. And that's a lot. In one lifetime, you should never have more than 1,000 pictures of yourself. Of yourself. Like, oh, look at me. If you have pictures of yourself every single day, you have a mental problem. You think that you're too... You think you're too awesome. So, yeah. Nothing but muscles and shorts covered in daisies. Yeah, right. Yeah. So, take pictures, guys, but just remember what it looks like to the rest of the world. If every single picture has you in it, then what does that say about you? If every picture you take has you in it, then what does that say about you? Yeah. It means that your entire world is about me, 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 me. Yeah. So I'm not saying you can't take a few pictures of yourself. You can. But there's this very simple word. Do you know this word? Vanity. To be vanity, to be vain, to have vanity, to be vain. Vanity it's a quality that means that you like yourself too much. You like yourself too much. That's to be vain. Okay? And it's not just egotism, no. It's more about how you look. Ego is about you, like you're the best, right? You're better than everyone else. Vanity is about how you look. It's about caring more about your looks than about who you are. To be vain is when you spend more time in the mirror making yourself look pretty on the outside, but you never spend any time working on your personality or yourself, right? So what I'm telling you is that we have a big problem with vanity in the world right now because of social media. Because social media has made everybody vain. Look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. So don't be vain. Don't be vain. There's a song from, what was that, Carly Simon? You're so vain. Something like that. Chasing likes and engagement. That's right, Julian. Yeah. Yeah. And on that note, I'll tell you this. Why do I think it's so weird? I'll tell you why. Because one of my favorite things to say, one of my favorite quotes is this. Desperation is a stinky perfume. What does that mean? Desperation is a stinky perfume. What's that mean? Anyone? Okay, I'll tell you what it means. If I need help, I could ask you, I could say, Mona, I could use some help. Could you help me out with this? That'd be a nice way to ask for help, right? And if I ask like that, then you'll probably help me. But Mona, if I go to you and I say, Mona, please, please, will you please help me, Mona? I really, really need your help. Can you help me right now, Mona? Right now, Mona, I really, really need your help right now. I don't care what you're doing, Mona. Can you please just stop and just help me right now? Me. Desperation. That stinks. Nobody likes that. People will run away if you are like that. And when you take pictures of yourself all day, like, look at me, look at how pretty I am, it's desperate. It's just another form of desperation. Please look at me. Please think I'm pretty. Please, I hope you think I'm pretty. I hope I'm attractive. It's desperate. So for every time you post a picture and you think it makes you look more confident, I think it makes you look desperate. Look how pretty and sexy I am. That's desperate. It's desperate. Please like me. Yeah. Desperation is a stinky cologne, or desperation is a stinky perfume. Don't be desperate. Don't be desperate. Okay? Nobody likes that. Right? So, guys, if you're a guy, right? Sometimes guys, maybe a guy's feeling like, well, I really want a girlfriend. I need a girlfriend. Can I get one? I really want one. No one is going to like that. If you sound like that, you are not going to get a girl. Because it's desperate. I really want one. I know you do. But the more you say it, the less it's going to happen. Because you sound desperate. So, did you ever know, have you ever seen a flower go to the bee? Have you ever seen a flower go to the bee? Do the flowers go to the bees? Or do the bees go to the flowers? The bees go to the flowers, right? So why? Why do the bees go to the flowers? How did the flower get the bee to come? How did the flower attract the bee? If you're a flower, you're not going to say, please, bees, please come here. Please, please come to me. No, the flower attracts the bees because the flower looks nice. The flower smells nice. The flower has nectar. It has pollen. It has the things that the bee needs. It has the things that the bee wants. So, if you want a girl or a guy, don't say, I really want you, please come to me, please, please, please. That's like a flower begging for the bees. No, the flower does not beg for the bees. The flower just works on being a good flower. If you become a good flower, the bees will come. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, don't be desperate. Just work on being a better person. If you make yourself a good person, people will be interested. People will come to you. The flower doesn't go to the bee goes to the flower. All right? So don't be desperate. Just work on yourself. The bees will come. All right? So why did it become like this? It wasn't this bad 10 years ago? In what way? What do you mean? When you say it wasn't this bad, in what way? Social media? Oh, well, that's very interesting. I'm sorry, that's very easy to say. Why did it get this bad? Because of the algorithms. They programmed it to get bad. That's why, right? So, for example, ChatGPT is not always right. Sometimes ChatGPT gives you bad information. Do you know why ChatGPT gives bad information sometimes? Why does it give bad answers sometimes? Do you know why? ChatGPT gives bad answers sometimes because they programmed ChatGPT to always have an answer. They told ChatGPT that saying "I don't know" is not acceptable. So, a normal human, if you ask me a question and I don't know the answer, or if I don't have enough information, then I will tell you I don't know. Right? That's what a normal human would do. ChatGPT, if you ask it something and it doesn't have enough information or it doesn't know, it will still try to give you an answer, and it will make things up to try to make that happen. So that's why. But why am I telling you this? Because they programmed it to do that. So I'm saying that they could have programmed it to say, "I don't know." But they didn't, because marketing, because they want money, because you can't make money off of "I don't know." So ChatGPT, everybody has problems with it, but the problems that are in ChatGPT are mostly because of the way they programmed it. They programmed it to always want to give an answer and to never say "I don't know." Right? So what I'm trying to say is the algorithms have gotten bad because the algorithms are not designed to be good for people. The algorithms are designed to engage people, to make people engage. And for example, 10 years ago, you could turn on the internet, you could turn on YouTube and watch cooking videos, and the cooking videos were all amazing. 10 years ago, everyone who had a cooking channel had a good cooking channel. But now we have a new kind of cooking channel. It's called Rage Bait Cooking. Rage Bait Cooking is, there's this one girl, I cannot stand this woman. She makes food, and when she's cooking, she's talking about it like, "Oh, look how yummy, look how delicious this is going to be." But what she's making is terrible. It's obviously terrible. It's the worst cooking ever. Anyone can see that. But she's pretending like it's good cooking. Why? Why is she pretending like she's making something good when she's really making something terrible? Why is she doing that? Do you know? Yeah, because if I make a cooking show and I cook a really delicious meal, I'll get 100 views and 100 comments. But if I make a cooking show and I make something terrible, but I pretend like it's really good, everybody will call me crazy. Everybody will be angry at me. Everybody will start commenting like, "That is absolutely wrong. That's not good. That's not right. I could do better. You're terrible. Blah, 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 blah." That's the algorithm. So that's why it's so much worse today, because the algorithm has programmed people to do the thing that gets the most attention. But that's not the thing that's good. If I if I do something that's truly great and amazing, most people won't care anymore because they've seen it already. But if I do something that makes you angry, people care. So, you asked me, why is it so much worse today than it was 10 years ago? Marketing. Marketing. That's why. Capitalism. That's why streamers generally do drama in their streaming. I know, right? But see, that's one thing that I don't want anything to do with. I would rather be real and not famous than famous and fake. I'd rather be real and not famous than famous and fake. There are, look, Hello Talk is a prime example. There are lots of streamers on Hello Talk that do nothing really at all. But sometimes they have more followers than I do. They have more likes than I do. They have more engagement than I have. But they don't do anything. Welcome to the internet. Humans have become here's another example. When I was 15 years old, we knew about the famous drummers who played drums that were famous. They were great. We knew about them. That's all we knew about, right? And maybe there were some other people who were really, really good, just as good, but you didn't know about them because they weren't famous, right? They were just living in somebody's basement, right? But today, because of the internet, now we don't know just about the famous guys. Now we know about every person in the world who is talented. And that's a lot. So that means that now there are a million drummers on YouTube and TikTok that are amazing. They're phenomenal, incredible, amazing players. When I was a boy, you thought in your mind that there were only maybe 100 or 200 or maybe 1,000 really great players. But now with the internet, there are millions of them. And because there are millions of them, our brain gets bored. We get tired of seeing that. So then we need to change it to do something to get more interest. So that's why it's called the law of diminishing returns. It's called the law of diminishing returns. Sometimes the more you invest in something, then eventually you reach a point where it actually stops benefiting you and it starts going backwards. And we already passed that point with the internet. So there was a point where everybody was kind of benefiting mostly, but then the benefits got less and less and less, and now mostly the internet is mostly negative, to be honest. Yeah. When I switch to live music, you should play Heal the World by Michael Jackson. I'll put it on my list. Okay? And speaking of which, I think that this is probably a pretty good time to wrap it up. One more time, here is my website. If you want to go to my website's right there. If you want to go to my YouTube channel's right there. If you want to go to my blog is right here. And if you want to know about me, if you are not sure, who is this guy? Who's this guy? What's he doing? Then you should go here and get this file, please. Everything that you need to know about me is in that link right there. The one that says Teacher Mark's FAQ PDF. Okay, so my schedule is in that link. My YouTube, my blog, my website, it's in that link. Everything you need to know about me and my history is in that link. So, Amel, get the link. Copy that link and paste it and open it in your browser and read. Okay? About 90,000 people follow me here on Hello Talk. There are many, many, many people who are here every day. Okay, so like I'm looking in my room here, and there's Andy, there's Susu, there's Language Warrior, there's Samuel. Let's see. I see Vinyl's here. Hello, Vinyl. Waleed's always here. Who else do I recognize? Cecilia. Cecilia's back. Leo. Who else? Jack. Can. So, what I'm trying to tell you is that many, 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 many people come back every day, almost, to watch. Okay? And my live streams are exciting if you ask me questions. If you don't ask me questions, my live streams are kind of boring. But if you ask me questions, they can get interesting. Okay? All right. So, I'm sorry. I don't take orders. I don't take orders, and it's not that interesting to hear your own name. It's okay. All right. I have to go, but have a good morning, have a good afternoon, have a good evening wherever you live in the world. Come back and see me again sometime. Okay? Here is my PDF file. Get my PDF file and come back and see me next time. Okay? I'll be back on Monday. Okay? And Susu, if you have time, maybe later today or tomorrow, let's see if we can talk about some other things that we've been working on for this week. Okay? Okay. Mian Adnan. Mian Adnan. I said your name. There you go. That's wonderful. I said your name. Are you happy now? Okay. Okay. Now, have a good weekend. Yes, indeed, Alejandra. Thank you. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.